They were standing by the punch bowl. That stupid, plastic punch bowl we used to joke about at weddings. Red plastic cups, cheap liquor, sticky counter. And she looked right at me. Not shocked. Not guilty. Just blank. Like I wasn't supposed to be there. Like I was the one crashing her night. Her hand was in his. Fingers interlaced. It took me a full 5 seconds to process it. Maybe 6. I don't know. The music was loud, but all I could hear was my heartbeat in my ears. I wasn't supposed to be there. She said it was a Just Girls party. I wasn't invited. But a coworker of mine, someone she didn't even know I was still in touch with, mentioned seeing her at this warehouse rave on the edge of town. Said she wasn't acting married. Whatever the hell that means. So I showed up. Not to catch her. Not to accuse her. Just to see. And there she was. In a black dress I'd never seen before. Laughing at something he whispered. The guy with the leather jacket and the smug face. The one she said was just a friend from her book club. Book club, my asterisk asterisk. I don't even remember walking through the room. I just appeared in front of her like my body moved on its own. She flinched for half a second, then let go of his hand like it was no big deal. Like she hadn't just broken every promise we ever made. "Oh," she said, "I didn't think you'd be here." No apology. No panic. No explanation. Just that. I didn't say a word. I looked at her, then at him. His arm was already pulling away from her waist like he wasn't expecting confrontation. Good instinct. But I wasn't there to yell, or throw punches, or cry. I just turned around and walked out. She didn't follow me. She didn't call. Not that night. But in the morning, 13 missed calls, 3 voicemails, 1 text. "I need to talk to you. Please. It's not what you think." But the thing is, it was exactly what I thought. I didn't go home. I didn't even know where I was walking at first. The party faded behind me like a bad dream, trying to claw its way back into my brain. Every time I blinked, I saw her hand in his. Every time a car passed, I imagined it was them, chasing me down with some half-baked excuse, some cowardly, it didn't mean anything. But no car came. No one came. I ended up in an old diner on 11th and Maple. The kind that serves pancakes at 1 a.m. and doesn't ask why your eyes look hollow. I ordered coffee. Didn't drink it. Just stared at the ripples and let the heat burn my hands through the cup. That tiny pain made more sense than anything else that night. I kept replaying her face. The absence of shame. The way she looked past me, like I was a coat rack or a light switch. Not a person. Not her husband. Just something in the way. We've been married 5 years. Lived together for 7. I helped her through student loans, through her panic attacks, through her father's funeral. I worked double shifts when she wanted to start her candle business. I cheered for her at every craft fair, even the ones where she didn't sell a single damn thing. And now she holds his hand at a party she lied about going to? My hands were shaking under the table. Not from rage. From heartbreak. From humiliation. I didn't know what to do. Where do you even start when your reality slips like that? I didn't want to talk to anyone, especially not my brother, who would have told me to man up or handle it like a real dude. I didn't want to explode. I wanted to understand. I finally drove home around 3:30 a.m. The house was dark. Her car was there. So was her coat, draped over the back of the kitchen chair. But she wasn't in bed. She was on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, eyes red, face puffy. She looked like she'd aged 5 years in 5 hours. She sat up the moment I opened the door. "Can we talk?" she asked. I didn't answer. I walked past her, up the stairs, closed the bedroom door. I didn't sleep, just stared at the ceiling until morning turned the window pale. That's when I heard it. Her crying. Not quiet sniffles. The full, shaking kind. Like the sound of someone realizing too late that the bridge is already ash. And I just lay there, eyes wide open. Let her cry. She'd earned it. By the time I came downstairs, she had made coffee. Not for herself. For me. It was in my favorite mug, the blue one with the chip on the rim she always hated. The gesture was so pathetic it almost made me laugh. I didn't drink it. Just sat across from her at the table. She looked like she hadn't slept at all. Hair a mess, hoodie zipped to her chin, eyes still puffy. She opened her mouth 3 times before anything came out. "It didn't mean anything," she whispered. "I swear to God, Jack." I didn't say a word. I just watched her. I wanted her to squirm. To feel the discomfort I've been dragging around like an anchor since that punch bowl moment. She reached across the table like she was going to touch my hand. I flinched. She stopped halfway and pulled back. "He's just," Someone I've been talking to, she finally admitted. It never got physical until last night. Not really. I didn't mean for you to see it. That line. I didn't mean for you to see it. Not I'm sorry. Not I messed up. Not I'll do anything to fix this. Just, she wished she'd been sneakier. My stomach turned. I asked her one question. Just one. How long? She hesitated, which was already too long. Then, about 3 months. 3 months. I looked down at her hands. No ring. She took it off at the party. Of course she did. Can't flirt with a ring on your finger, right? Might give off the wrong vibe. She kept talking, voice low, like she was confessing something to a priest. It started as venting. I didn't feel heard, and you were always tired. And he made me feel seen again. I didn't plan for it to go anywhere. I just fell into his lap. I muttered. She winced. Good. Then came the kicker. She said it as if it would fix everything. I ended it this morning. I blocked him. I told him it's over. I leaned back in my chair, stunned by the audacity. You didn't end it. I did by walking out. She said nothing, and that silence told me everything. I wasn't angry. Not in that moment. I was hollow, like someone had taken my insides out and replaced them with fog. I stood up. She reached for my arm. Jack, please, can we go to counseling? I know I broke something. I know, but I don't want to lose you. I looked her in the eyes and said something I never thought I'd say. You already did. Then I walked upstairs and closed the door. But here's the thing. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't leave. Not yet. Because part of me wanted to see what she'd do next. And part of me wanted her to feel what it's like living with a ghost. The next few days were quiet, but not peaceful. She moved around the house like someone under surveillance, closing doors slowly, pausing before entering a room, leaving post-it notes instead of speaking out loud, one on the fridge saying groceries tomorrow, and another on my nightstand. Can we talk when you're ready? I didn't answer either. I was too busy watching her unravel. It's strange. She used to walk through the house like she owned it, like it was an extension of her. Now she stepped lightly, like she thought I'd snap at any moment, but I didn't. I just observed. I was polite, civil. I said good morning. I made coffee. I even washed her plate after dinner one night. She cried in the laundry room that night. I heard her. She left the dryer running so I wouldn't notice, but I heard the difference. The quiet sobs between cycles. The kind you make with a hand over your mouth so nobody hears you break. She tried cooking dinner again the next day. Chicken with lemon and thyme. The first bite was overcooked. She apologized instantly. I can make something else, she said too quickly, standing up like I'd throw the plate. I didn't even look at her. Just said, it's fine. And that crushed her more than yelling ever could. It's like she wanted me to explode. Wanted me to say something unforgivable so she could flip the script. So she could say, see, you're cruel too. You're no better. But I wouldn't give her that. The tension boiled over 3 nights later. I walked into the bedroom and found her sitting on the floor, clutching our wedding album. Not looking through it, just holding it like a shield. She looked up at me, eyes already wet, and whispered, you're punishing me. Silently, slowly. I can't breathe like this. I said nothing. Just stood there. She stood up and came closer. Say something. Yell. Scream. Tell me you hate me. Just don't look at me like I'm already gone. That was the moment I realized something chilling. She still thought this was temporary. She thought this was a phase. That my silence was a storm waiting to pass. That I'd come back, like always. That I'd forgive her once she played the right combination of guilt and nostalgia. She didn't understand that something in me had snapped. Quietly. Permanently. I finally spoke. You had a choice. And you made it. Her hands shook. She dropped the album. The photos spilled. Beach smiles, birthday kisses, Christmas pajamas. I stepped over them. Not out of cruelty. Out of clarity. Because whatever those pictures were, they weren't us anymore. I think the scariest part wasn't the cheating. It was realizing how fast she shifted into performance mode. After that night with the wedding album, she flipped into full apology tour mode. Suddenly, she was up early every morning, packing my lunch again like she used to 5 years ago. Little notes inside like, you're still the only man I want. She even started playing the playlist from our honeymoon through the house speakers, the one she hadn't touched since 2020. I remember just standing in the hallway, listening to that dumb Jack Johnson song echo through the living room while she dusted books she hadn't read in a decade. It was all too much. Too clean. Too rehearsed. She didn't get it. I didn't want the version of her that existed in memory. I wanted the truth. And the truth was, she hadn't been mine for months. Not emotionally. Not physically. She had slipped into someone else's orbit, and now she was clawing her way back with candles, casseroles, and fake laughter at jokes I didn't make. I let her try. I didn't stop her. But I didn't say thank you, either. And maybe that's what broke her faster than any argument ever could. The cracks showed 2 weeks in. I came home to find her sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her phone like it had just cursed at her. I asked, finally, "Everything okay?" She looked up and said something I'll never forget. "I think he's seeing someone else." That silence afterward wasn't about pain. It was about the sick irony of her expecting me to care. She was hurt. Genuinely. Not because she loved him, but because she didn't get to be the one to walk away first. She didn't get closure. She traded me in for a man who didn't even stick around long enough to watch her unravel. And now she wanted me to comfort her? I couldn't decide whether to laugh or leave. Instead, I asked, "Did you really think he'd wait?" She blinked. Her eyes darted to the side like a child caught lying. Then, for the first time since this whole nightmare started, her voice hardened. "I made a mistake, Jack. But you're not innocent either. You stopped being present years ago. You're acting like I'm a monster, but you disappeared long before I ever did." There it was. The shift. The mask cracked. She couldn't win me back with kindness, so now she'd try blame. Classic. But I just stood there, arms folded, letting her words hang in the air like smoke. I wasn't going to fight for a woman who kissed another man while wearing perfume I bought her. I wasn't going to defend my silence when it was the only honest thing between us. And I sure as hell wasn't going to be her backup plan. It wasn't just the two of us anymore. I mean, technically it was. We were still living under the same roof, eating the same dinners, brushing our teeth in the same bathroom. But something shifted when her sister showed up at the door. I didn't even know Claire was in town. She hugged Lacey tightly and gave me this awkward nod, like she wasn't sure if she was supposed to shake my hand or slap me. I could tell Lacey had already spun a version of the story, the sanitized kind, where she made a mistake and I shut down emotionally. Not a word about Troy. Not a word about the party. Just enough fog to make her the one worth crying for. I didn't correct anything. Let her have her pity votes. Let them gather around her like some wounded heroine, poor Lacey, who got caught in a marriage with a man too tired to love her properly. But here's the twist Claire didn't expect. I didn't play the villain. I didn't storm out. I didn't even argue. I made her coffee, asked about her kids, smiled politely when she asked how work was going. That's when I saw the confusion bloom behind her eyes. It wasn't lining up. The version of me Lacey sold her didn't match the one sitting across the kitchen table. And then, late that night, I overheard them talking in the hallway. Their voices were low, but I heard my name. Claire said, "I mean, it just doesn't look like he's the one who gave up." Lacey didn't answer. I stood in the dark, listening to her silence, and for the first time in weeks, I felt something other than sorrow. I felt power. Not joy, not satisfaction, just the quiet realization that she no longer controlled the narrative. She thought she could cheat, apologize, and rebuild, like a house she could just paint over. But the foundation was cracked. The more she tried to paint it nice, the more obvious the damage became. That weekend, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't know she was married. He didn't deserve that." No name. No emojis. Just a message from Troy, or someone close to him. Maybe a roommate. Maybe a new girlfriend. Maybe someone who saw the whole thing unfold and realized what Lacey had done. I didn't reply. I just stared at the message for a long time. It was strange. That tiny, unexpected apology from a stranger made me feel more seen than anything Lacey had said in months. And in that moment, I realized something. She hadn't just broken my trust. She'd made herself unknowable. And I wasn't sure I wanted to know her again. There's a strange kind of numb that settles in after heartbreak, not the sobbing, TV drama kind. The real kind. The kind that lets you clean a kitchen while your marriage dies in the next room. The kind that lets you smile at coworkers while you're secretly calling a lawyer during your lunch break. The kind where you don't feel rage anymore, just a soft resignation in your bones, like winter that never left. That's where I was. She thought I was warming up again. I wasn't. I was just tired of giving her silence that she mistook for hope. So I started making moves. Quiet ones. I changed the password to my personal savings account. Not out of spite, out of survival. I moved half my wardrobe into boxes and stored them in my trunk. I told her I was clearing space for when we got serious about therapy. She smiled like she believed me, and maybe part of her did, because she had started acting like the perfect wife again. Every night she asked if I needed anything. Every morning she offered to drive me to work, even though I'd never once said yes. She even started folding my socks again, something she hadn't done since 2021. It was all an act, but a desperate one. She wanted to rewrite the ending, rewrite herself. If she could just erase that one night, the hand-holding, the kiss, the look she gave him, maybe she thought I'd forget too. But I didn't. I couldn't. Especially when, one morning, I found a note she'd left on the bathroom mirror. It was written in red lipstick. It said, "I love you. I'll never forgive myself for hurting you." It should have moved me. Instead, I stood there brushing my teeth and wondering how someone who loves you can lie with such precision. Because that's what it was now, precision. Controlled, tactical guilt. A campaign to earn back the comfort she once had. But she didn't love me. She missed the life I gave her. The stability. The backup. The man who handled the rent and the car inspections and the 1,000 invisible things that made her life possible while she played free spirit. So I stopped playing along. I stopped checking in. Stopped responding when she tried to make plans. I slept on the farthest edge of the bed. I made appointments. Not with a counselor. With a realtor. And when she asked me if I thought we were getting better, I just nodded. That was the cruelest part of all. Because I was already gone. I just hadn't told her yet. I left on a Thursday morning. No dramatic exit. No slammed doors. No final argument with her sobbing on the floor. Just a note on the kitchen counter. A cup of hot coffee next to it. The way she used to leave messages when we were still in love. The letter was short. Not cruel. Not bitter. Just honest. You broke something in me I can't rebuild while living in the ruins. You chose someone else when I needed you most. And now I'm choosing myself. I signed it with my name. Not love, Jack. Not yours. Not even goodbye. Just Jack. Because that's who I am now. Just me. No longer a husband. No longer a ghost in someone else's story. I moved into a small place across town. Nothing fancy. One bedroom. Wobbly ceiling fan. A creaky floorboard in the hallway I keep stepping on by accident. But it's mine. Every inch of it is mine. The first night, I sat on the floor with a microwave dinner and no furniture, and for the first time since this whole thing started, I felt light. Not happy. Not yet. But free. Like the weight I'd been dragging behind me for months had finally let go. She called twice. I didn't answer. She sent an email, subject line, "Please don't hate me." I archived it without reading. Because I don't hate her. I just don't need her anymore. Funny thing is, I started sleeping better. Eating better. Laughing at dumb things on TV again. I even joined a local photography class, something I always wanted to do but never had time for, because I was too busy being her safety net. And last weekend, I met someone. No, not like that. Not romance. Not yet. Just a stranger with a dog at the park who asked what camera I was using. We talked for almost an hour. About light, about angles, about how sometimes the most beautiful photos are the ones you never planned. It made me think, maybe that's what life is too. Messy, blurry, but still full of color if you're willing to reframe it. So yeah, I lost a marriage. But I found my spine. I found my voice. And I found out that walking away doesn't mean you gave up. Sometimes it means you finally started living.